The first habit that can completely transform the way a woman carries herself is learning to build quiet confidence. Not the kind of confidence that needs to announce itself, prove itself, or constantly demand attention, but the kind that becomes visible through the way you walk, speak, make decisions, and respond to life. Quiet confidence is powerful because it does not depend on applause. It does not need everyone to agree with you. It does not collapse when someone criticizes you, ignores you, rejects you, or fails to recognize your value. It comes from knowing who you are and refusing to abandon yourself simply because someone else does not understand you. Many women spend years believing that attractiveness is primarily about physical appearance. They focus on their clothes, hair, makeup, body, age, or the attention they receive from others. But physical beauty can attract attention for a moment, while confidence creates a lasting impression. A woman who genuinely respects herself carries a different energy. She does not need to be the loudest person in the room. She does not need to compete with every other woman. She does not need to prove that she is desirable, intelligent, successful, or important. There is something deeply attractive about someone who is comfortable with herself. Quiet confidence begins with the way you speak to yourself when nobody else is listening. If your inner voice constantly tells you that you are not good enough, not beautiful enough, not successful enough, or not worthy enough, eventually that insecurity begins to influence your behavior. You may accept treatment you do not deserve because you are afraid of being alone. You may remain silent when you should speak. You may compare yourself with other women and feel threatened by their success. You may constantly seek reassurance because you have not learned how to give yourself the validation you are asking from everyone else. You have to change that relationship with yourself. Start asking better questions. Instead of asking, do they like me? Ask, do I like who I become around them? Instead of asking, do they think I am attractive? Ask, do I feel comfortable in my own skin? Instead of asking, why did they reject me? Ask, what can I learn from this? And why would I allow one person's decision to determine my value? These questions shift your attention from external approval to internal stability. Confidence is not believing that you are better than everyone else. It is understanding that you do not have to be better than anyone else to have value. You can admire another woman without feeling inferior to her. You can celebrate someone else's success without interpreting it as evidence of your own failure. You can walk into a room where someone is more beautiful, more successful, wealthier, or more experienced than you and still remain grounded in your own identity. That is confidence. A mentally strong woman also understands that confidence requires action. You cannot simply repeat positive words while continuing to betray yourself through your choices. If you promise yourself that you will stop accepting disrespect, then you have to honor that promise. If you decide that you will take better care of your body, your mind, and your future, then you have to take small actions consistently. Confidence grows every time you keep a promise to yourself. Every workout you complete, every difficult conversation you handle with maturity, every boundary you maintain, every goal you pursue despite fear becomes evidence that you can trust yourself. And self-trust is one of the strongest foundations of confidence. You will also discover that confident women do not always feel confident. This is important because many people misunderstand confidence. They think confident people are never nervous, uncertain, afraid, or uncomfortable. That is not true. Confidence means you can experience those emotions without allowing them to control your decisions. You can be afraid and still speak. You can feel uncertain and still take the next step. You can be rejected and still continue moving forward. You can make a mistake and still believe that you are capable of learning from it. The goal is not to eliminate insecurity completely. The goal is to stop allowing insecurity to become your identity. There will be moments when someone tries to make you question yourself. Someone may criticize your appearance, your ambitions, your personality, your choices, or your boundaries. Sometimes criticism will contain something useful that you can learn from. Other times it will simply reflect another person's expectations, frustration, jealousy, or misunderstanding. Quiet confidence allows you to examine criticism without automatically accepting it. You can listen without surrendering your self-respect. You can consider another person's opinion without making it the authority over your life. This is where emotional maturity becomes part of attractiveness. When you are secure within yourself, you become less reactive. You don't have to respond to every comment. You don't have to defend yourself against every accusation. You don't have to win every argument. You begin to understand that peace is sometimes more valuable than being proven right. There is strength in knowing when to speak and when silence is the better response. A confident woman also stops performing for people. She does not change her entire personality depending on who enters the room. She can be kind without becoming a people pleaser. She can be feminine without becoming dependent. She can be ambitious without apologizing for her goals. She can be gentle without being weak. She can be independent without becoming emotionally closed off. Her confidence gives her the freedom to be authentic instead of constantly calculating how she will be perceived. And perhaps the most powerful part of quiet confidence is that it gives you permission to stop chasing what does not choose you. When you know your worth, rejection becomes information rather than a personal verdict. Someone leaving your life may hurt, but it does not have to destroy your identity. A closed door may disappoint you, but it does not mean there are no other doors. A missed opportunity may force you to grow, but it does not mean your future is finished. Your worth does not increase when someone chooses you, and it does not decrease when someone walks away. So begin building confidence in private. Keep promises to yourself. Take care of your appearance because you value yourself, not because you need approval. Learn something new. Speak with intention. Stand straight. Make decisions thoughtfully. Stop explaining yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you. Spend time alone without feeling incomplete. Celebrate your progress without waiting for someone else to notice it, because the most attractive woman in the room is not necessarily the woman who receives the most attention. Sometimes she is the woman who does not need it. She knows herself. She respects herself. She continues growing. She can enter a room without asking permission to belong there, and she can leave a situation without begging to be valued. Her confidence is quiet because it is real. It does not need to shout, because deep inside, she already knows that she is enough. The second habit is learning to stop chasing validation. This may sound simple, but it can completely change the way you experience relationships, friendships, work, and even your relationship with yourself. So many women unknowingly give other people control over their emotions because they constantly look outside themselves for proof that they are worthy. They want someone to notice them, compliment them, choose them, respond to their message, approve of their decisions, or reassure them that they are enough. There is nothing wrong with appreciating encouragement from others, but there is a major difference between enjoying validation and depending on it. When your confidence depends on other people's reactions, your emotional state becomes unstable. When someone praises you, you feel powerful. When someone ignores you, you question yourself. When someone compliments you, you feel beautiful. When someone criticizes you, you suddenly feel unattractive. When someone gives you attention, you feel important. When that attention disappears, you begin wondering what you did wrong. This creates a cycle where your peace is constantly controlled by circumstances and people you cannot control. Mentally strong women learn to break that cycle. They understand that attention is not the same thing as love, and approval is not the same thing as worth. Someone can admire you and still not be capable of giving you a healthy relationship. Someone can reject you and still have no authority over your value. Someone can misunderstand you without you needing to spend hours proving who you are. Once you understand this, you stop treating every reaction from another person as a measurement of your worth. Think about how often people change themselves just to be accepted. They agree when they actually disagree. They laugh when something hurts them. They stay quiet because they are afraid of appearing difficult. They tolerate disrespect because they are afraid that setting a boundary will cause someone to leave. They change their appearance, opinions, goals, or personality because they believe being accepted is more important than being authentic. But every time you betray yourself to keep someone else comfortable, you teach yourself that their approval matters more than your own self-respect. That is an expensive price to pay for validation. A woman who no longer chases validation begins to make decisions differently. She asks herself what she actually wants. She thinks about what aligns with her values. She considers whether a relationship brings peace or constant anxiety. She stops asking, how can I make them choose me? And begins asking, is this person even someone I should choose? That single shift can transform your entire life because it moves you from a position of begging for acceptance to a position of evaluating what deserves access to you. This does not mean becoming cold, arrogant, or emotionally unavailable. It means becoming emotionally independent. You can care deeply about people without making their opinions your identity. You can appreciate compliments without needing them every day. You can enjoy attention without becoming addicted to it. You can love someone without losing yourself inside their expectations. One of the most important forms of validation to release is social media validation. The number of likes, views, comments, followers, or messages can easily become connected to how someone feels about themselves. A post performs well, and confidence rises. A post receives little attention, and suddenly insecurity appears. But digital attention is an unreliable measurement of personal value. Algorithms change, people's interests change, trends change, timing changes. None of these things can accurately measure your intelligence, character, kindness, potential, or beauty. You have to learn how to enjoy your life even when nobody is watching. Do something because it makes you proud, not because you can photograph it. Reach a goal because it matters to you, not because you want people to congratulate you. Improve your health because you respect your body, not because you need strangers to approve of your appearance. Read because you want to grow. Learn because you want to become capable. Dress in a way that makes you feel confident because you enjoy expressing yourself. Your life becomes much more peaceful when you stop turning every meaningful experience into a performance for an audience. Another powerful part of releasing validation is becoming comfortable with disappointing people. This is difficult for anyone who has spent years trying to keep everyone happy. You may believe that being a good woman means always being available, always understanding, always forgiving, always saying yes, and always putting everyone else's needs before your own. But constantly abandoning yourself is not kindness. It is self-neglect. Sometimes you have to say no. Sometimes you have to leave a conversation. Sometimes you have to decline an invitation. Sometimes you have to protect your time. Sometimes you have to disappoint someone because their expectations are unreasonable. Their disappointment does not automatically mean you did something wrong. A strong woman learns that someone being unhappy with her boundary does not mean the boundary is wrong. You will also discover that chasing validation often makes people behave in ways they later regret. They send unnecessary messages because someone has become distant. They over-explain themselves after an argument. They apologize for things they did not do simply to restore peace. They accept inconsistent treatment because they are afraid that asking for more will push someone away. They constantly check whether someone has seen their message. They analyze every word, every pause, every change in tone. Their mind becomes consumed by the question, what do they think about me? But imagine how much energy becomes available when you stop living that way. Instead of monitoring everyone else's reactions, you can focus on your own direction. Instead of wondering whether someone is impressed by you, you can work on becoming someone you respect. Instead of trying to convince people to see your value, you can give your energy to people who naturally recognize it. Instead of chasing people who are inconsistent, you can build relationships based on mutual effort and respect. The most attractive quality of a woman who has stopped chasing validation is her emotional freedom. She does not need to manipulate people into staying. She does not use jealousy to get attention. She does not create drama simply to feel important. She does not constantly announce how valuable she is. Her behavior communicates her standards. She understands that the right people do not require her to perform for basic respect. And when you stop chasing validation, something else happens. Rejection becomes easier to handle. You still feel disappointment because you are human. You still care. You still experience sadness. But rejection no longer becomes a statement about your identity. You can say, this hurts, but it does not define me. You can accept that not every person will understand you, appreciate you, or choose you. That is not failure. That is life. Your responsibility is not to become universally liked. Your responsibility is to become deeply rooted in who you are. The more you validate yourself through your actions, the less desperate you become for validation from others. Every time you honor your values, keep a promise to yourself, walk away from disrespect, pursue a meaningful goal, or choose peace over attention, you strengthen your relationship with yourself. Eventually, you stop needing constant confirmation that you are enough because your own life has become the evidence. And when a woman reaches that point, she becomes attractive in a way that goes far beyond appearance. She becomes difficult to manipulate because she does not need approval at any cost. She becomes calmer because other people's opinions no longer control her emotions. She becomes stronger because she trusts her own judgment. She becomes more selective because she understands that not every person deserves access to her energy. Most importantly, she becomes free because she finally realizes that the love, respect, and approval she has been desperately seeking from the outside must first begin with the way she treats herself